Three. Good
Hello,
afternoon,
Steve.
Tina.
Hello, good morning here.
Good morning, indeed. Indeed, we're international. We're in Canada and the USA and in England today. Todd, who is with us from Myrtle Beach, South California, SC.
South
I'm
Carolina.
Florida, South Carolina. Thank you very much. See, it helps to have local knowledge.
Hi, Todd.
Right,
East Coast.
right. Now, surprisingly, it's 90 degrees in the UK today, so I am literally melting. What's it like in Sarnia, David?
I knew you were going to ask me, so I'm just going. Let me see. What are we at? We're 19 degrees here. A little
Right.
cloudy, apparently. That needs to clear up so I can go for my motorcycle ride later tonight.
Right, okay. Well, we're looking forward to it being 19 here on Saturday. Tina, how is it with you?
Sweltering. It's South Florida and it's always sweltering. It was so hot yesterday, I brought my iguanas inside.
Wow.
That's hot.
That's hot. It's African hot over here.
Right, okay. Now, we all have our stories to tell, and the stories that we're telling today are about building your audience, starting from scratch. And we're going to come up with some hints, tips, and tricks as to how to do that. But the first place to start, I think, is to start with your profile. So, Tina,
Okay, so
what's
I am
important?
a professional and award-winning photographer. That's what I do. I have over 35 years of experience. So I know my stuff. You can choose, use, or lose any of my suggestions. Pick what works for you. I'm going to share tips I know tried and true that work. So the first thing is selecting the color you're going to wear. Let me back up for a second. If people don't like what they see in your profile picture, they're not going to click through and watch your video. So your profile picture is that seed you're planting to get them to come over to your video and watch you. It's like planting a seed for you to grow and thrive. It's the appetizer to the dinner. So it's very important that your profile image is compelling, interesting, you look warm, friendly, and inviting. So a couple tips I want to give you. It starts with the color you're going to wear. I like a solid top because you can see I've got a busy background. A lot of my portraits I shoot outside because I live in paradise. And you want to keep your top solid. Avoid black, white, and gray. Same goes for broadcasting. The white can inhibit your white balance in the lens and the camera and affect, like make you look too washed out. Gray tends to drain the skin tone, make you look kind of haggard and old. And black, unless you're that Moroccan, Italian, that deep Mediterranean, dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin, black can be very draining and it's dreary. It has a very low vibration. The reason I like solid is imagine if I was wearing this wrap. Your eyes would be like, what the heck is going on? So a solid helps keep the attention up on your face, on your eyes, the window to the soul. I am in my 50s, so I'm older. I think also having shorter hair doesn't pull the face down. So that's so important. Don't be afraid to stretch your boundaries and try something new. Like, oh, I've always worn my hair long. Well, it's hair. It will grow back. Try something different. Confession. I did a little choppity chop during, what quarantine we've been in. And my hair lady had to fix what I did. I had really, really short hair, almost pixie for a few weeks. So it's grown out a lot. So keep the attention up. With short hair, an advantage is you can wear lots of pretty earrings. Again, keeping the eye up. So your profile picture is so important. So I hope I gave you some tips there. Bump up your makeup a little, ladies, because the flash will usually filter out a lot of that, and you don't want to look drab. So important where you photograph your image. Please, please, I'm begging you, stop taking pictures in your car. It's not professional. Your car is not a photo studio. Find a pretty background. Outside in natural light is best. Make sure your face is well lit. And you don't have like your seat belt, your seat. It doesn't look professional, especially if you're doing live. You want to look professional, put together, and you have like only 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. So be very very cognizant of that. Yeah, I've taken a car picture or two, but it's on my personal page, not on my business page, not on my speaker page. So important where you're taking your picture. So we talked about location. Please not in your car, I'm begging you. Not in the bathroom. Be very careful about your angle so you can see the lens. And same, a lot of these tips will also apply to going live in your broadcast. Your lens should be eye level or above. You can see mine is slightly above because I'm looking up, stretching, taking years and weight off. So that's so important. Angle, lighting, and background. I use in my presentation a great demonstration of this guy thinking he's looking really hot with the roll of toilet paper and the reflection of his saggy rear end in the mirror. So angle, lighting, and background. Pay attention to what's in your background. Are you at the beautiful beach? Make sure there's somebody not walking through. And if there is and you love that image, Photoshop them out or clone them out with water and sand on there. So that's so important. Today, now, more than ever, especially now in lockdown, where we're really reliant upon using our videos, our lives, and our presentations to reach out and touch people, literally, online, it's so important. And we have a unique advantage capturing people using video, but that seed has got to be your profile picture. On LinkedIn, do you ever notice how many people are eggheads? They're missing profile pictures. LinkedIn experts tell us picture profiles with professionally taken images have a get clicked upon 14 times more than eggheads. The only thing worse than a bad profile image is no image at all. I love animals. I rescue dogs. I have a lot of different pets. You don't see my cat or my dog on my profile picture. Maybe in my cover on my Facebook, maybe in a post, but not on my profile. I'm using that profile as bait to get new friends, new followers, new people that I can collaborate and produce with. And that profile picture is so, so very important, more than ever. So those are my quick tips. Back to you, Stephen.
Indeed. I mean, basically, profile photo is the thing that is the image that's seen the most, isn't it? If you're broadcasting from your page, your profile photo is there. If you're posting anywhere and people want to look at you, they're going to see your image. And that image is everywhere. Would you use the same image on every site? That's my question.
I just actually bartered with someone, Emily Miller, here in Florida on the other coast. And she actually, again, being humble and putting myself out there, she's the expert in what she does. She did a social media review of my sites. And that was one of the things I got points for, was using the same profile image across for consistency. So she affirmed what I tell a lot of my clients. I see a lot of people constantly changing out their profile picture. And I actually did a quiz I need to publish on rating your own profile picture. I have a friend, she changes out her profile picture about every week, and it's kind of narcissistic in my opinion. Anytime you change out your profile picture and refresh it, I would recommend doing it at least quarterly, at least every 6 months, minimum quarterly. Change out your profile picture, because when you change out and update and enhance your profile picture, you're getting new eyeballs. You're pushing yourself to the top of the feed. And it's so important, if you've changed your hair, lost or gained weight, make sure that your profile picture is a representation of you. My hobby, for those of you that don't know me, is I raise and release native butterflies in Florida. So you can see on the image that we used in the promos, I'm holding butterflies, because you think like, wow, she's got 6 butterflies on her. What's that about? Click. So if there's something that's unique to you, if it's a prop, something unique that you can use as bait to pull someone in that gives a little bit more of your personality and lets people know who you are, use it.
Brilliant. We're living in strange times at the moment, but I think we should still change our profile photos along the lines that you said. Now, does it help if you get your profile photo professionally shot?
Absolutely. On LinkedIn, those professionally captured images get clicked upon 14 times more. Now, a lot of people let's face it, the younger generation has grown up with a phone in their face, taking 100 million selfies all the time, and they're good at it. They know what looks good because they've learned from us. But most people don't know what they look like when that lens clicks. Do you know your better side? Do you know the optimum colors to wear for your skin tone, your eyes, and your hair color? Do you know your proper expression? Do you know all the body language and the psychology behind body language? Those are things a professional photographer can coach you on. You know, I see a lot of people talking online and they're always talking like from here. Talk more from here and lean down. Don't, they're like, oh yeah, but my neck. It's not about your neck. People want to connect with your eyes. That's how they get to know you. And I see a lot of people online. I got on TikTok during this quarantine thing, which I love. And I see a lot of people always there looking at the screen when they're talking. You don't want to look at my eyelids. You want me to connect with you. So always look at the lens when you're going live, when you're taking pictures.
Totally. And David, I love the background advertising today. It's working very well. I mean, I've been drawn to it.
Oh, I usually have that just on for my show. I wasn't even thinking it was there.
Right. Okay. And we're joined by Lottie. Say hello to Lottie. And Lottie
Hi,
is
Lottie.
saying, pro images on LinkedIn get clicked 14 times more, well worth a pro photo session. And Lottie again recapping what we're doing. And people want to connect with your eyes. That's true. That's true. Especially when you're broadcasting solo, you've got to look at the camera, David. You have to look at the. Thank you.
At the lens.
That was good. Caught you looking at the camera then. All right. Okay. Now we just want to sort of build on where we started, because it starts with you and it starts with how people perceive you. Your image is part of that. What you do online counts as well. I think it's true to say that if you want people to take notice of you online, you have to do something. You can't, I'll just go full screen. I'm producing the show. I can do this when I want. You can't go, you can't go on Facebook or on YouTube and just watch. If you just watch something, then you're not really taking part. You're a bystander, and you may as well be sat at home watching television rather than watching live video. If you want to take part in live video, you want to help people build an audience, then you can do one simple thing. And if you can do it consistently, it will make a difference not only to the way people see you, but to how many times they will watch your show. And that is to actually comment on other people's shows. If you're watching the show now, then please do comment, because otherwise you are a television viewer and we don't know who you are. Comments drive shows. The more comments there are, the more Facebook likes it. The more Facebook likes it, I've got another comment in, thank you. More Facebook likes and sees the comments, then the more people will see you. Your reach increases. With every comment that's made on a live show, your reach increases exponentially. If you go live and nobody comments, then you've not reached out to anybody. You've not really started a conversation. You've not really networked. And that's, to David and I, this is all about networking, and we'll come back to that. But if you are watching somebody live and you like what you see, then do comment, even if you're actually live on the show at the time. And Tina's saying being a good audience member leads to being good at going live. And Lottie is saying it's so fun to see you both live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. Simulcast now available on Be Live. Thank you, Be Live. Thank you, team. And Anne Quinn from the UK. Hello, long-time friend. And it's good to see you watching us today, Anne. And I wish you well. I hope everything's okay over up north, as we say. Right, I'm going to come back and then it's over to David. And David has a story to tell, because he said the other day he doesn't have a story to tell, but he has many stories to tell. Because in the last few months, in the last year, in actual fact, his life has changed dramatically. And I've watched from this side of the camera. We do a show every week, but watching from the other side of the camera, I've seen David become a college. Well, he'll tell his own story. I'm going to keep quiet and hand over to David, and David can tell us about his live video journey and building an audience.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. And I wanted to say hello, Tina. I think this is probably the first time that we've. Don't take her away.
No,
This is probably the first time. I don't need the full screen thing.
okay, right. You're not going to get it.
This is probably the first time Tina and I have met officially here. So nice to meet you, Tina. And I do have one question. You talk about not taking pictures in your car. What if you sell cars? Don't do it, she says.
Outside the car.
Outside the car, in front
Outside
of
the car, show the beautiful car, the beautiful color, the lines.
There you go. Well, Stephen, thanks for having me on here today. I know it's been a busy week for you producing all these shows, but there's so many great experts and people, sharing all their nuggets and treasures and tips and tricks and all that sort of stuff. So for those that don't know me, I began my journey about 10 years ago. I've been live streaming, and I come from an entertainment background. And so I've built a lot of brands being involved in the entertainment world, and I was a disc jockey, etc. Karaoke host was my original trait. That was a full-time career for me, and did that full-time for close to 25 years. So when I jumped into this world, I discovered that YouTube thing. And that was at a time when YouTube was still, what is YouTube kind of thing. And everybody was figuring it out along the way. When I first started live streaming, I was using Ustream or Justin TV. And I even remember the Blab days, right, Stephen?
Indeed.
You remember the Blab days. Building an audience is something that I have become an expert at. It's really... and it's unique every time in its own way on how you build an audience, because it certainly depends on, what you're putting out there. And the other day when we talked about storytelling, I said I never really considered myself a storyteller, but I'm more of the story sharer, because what I do with my show is I have people on and I have them tell their stories. But I sort of discovered even the other day that maybe I am a bit of a storyteller, especially as of recently, now that I'm narrating books for Amazon and Audible and iTunes, which is fantastic. I warned Jennifer, by the way, Stephen, my wife, I said, you look out, because a year from now, I'm going to be super smart reading all these books, right?
Brilliant.
And you mentioned about, you watching my journey, Stephen, along the way. Even just in the last 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, I became a college professor here at our local college, and I designed the first in all of Canada esports entrepreneurship and administration program here at Lambton College, and I designed the live streaming class that's a part of that program. So I was able to become the first in all of Canada to teach that at a college, and I don't say that to impress upon you or to impress you, but to impress upon you that the things you can do with live streaming are very, very powerful. And one of the things I teach my students in the 15 weeks I have them at each time is accountability and responsibility when you get in front of that camera. And at the very beginning, and if my son is watching, he had to take the course. He had me as a teacher in his first year at the college, lucky fellow. I tell all my students there's 2 words that you need to learn, and you can take it in live streaming or life or whatever you do. And those 2 words are impact and relationships. And that's nothing new. I didn't invent that. I just embraced those 2 words. If you put those 2 words together, you can build huge communities. And I think one of the things that people fail to realize sometimes is they do have an impact. Everybody who's watching this can have an impact on somebody. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to do what you would consider wow things, or we all have those people we look up to and go, wow, I could never do that. But you can do that. And it all starts with a trickle effect, building relationships and the impact that you have on those relationships. And a lot of times the impact that you have or who you have that impact on You may never meet them. You may never see them. I'm going to tell you a quick story here, and you'll probably find it interesting, Stephen, and I'm sure Tina will.
Good.
A long time ago, I was impacted as a young boy. I was impacted by a man who I still consider today to be very influential in my life. And his first name is Donald.
But it's...
Oh, and look at Tina's going, oh, and everybody's going, what? Donald Sutherland.
Good.
Donald Sutherland, who's Canadian. Now, isn't that interesting, though? There was the impact on how words can have that impact. I just said that one word, and everybody automatically thought the other guy, right? Donald Sutherland had an impact on me as a young boy because he was the youngest Canadian DJ ever in Canada. At 14 years old, he was a professional news media journalist. And that impacted me because down the hall, my parents were having a conversation one time and they were talking about Donald Sutherland. My mother still loves Donald Sutherland. And I heard that story. And it was about that time that I 100% decided that I wanted to get into the entertainment field or do something in media, DJ, whatever. I've never met the man, and he has no idea who I am. But the impact that he's had onto me still today at about becoming 51 years old has been huge in my life. And I often think about him. I read his books, etc. So find your story that you want to tell, as going back to the other day, and just start sharing that and build communities. You take those relationships and the impact that you have on those people, and you start building a community. I've been doing my show coming into 9 years now, every week, never missed a week. I'm very proud of that fact. I think I'm coming into episode 453. And there is commitment to building relationships. You know, you have to be there and show up when you say you're going to show up. If you say you're there every Monday at 3:30, you need to be there every Monday at 3:30. Now, I understand things happen in life, but it depends what level you want to take this to as well. If you want to build an audience and if you want to have impact on people, that's awesome. You can do that. Understand the truth about it. There is a commitment to what you do, and there is a commitment to providing quality content. There is a commitment to being accountable and responsible in front of the camera. You know, for those who are a Marvel fan, you know, Spider-Man's uncle said, with great power comes great responsibility. And getting in front of this camera has a huge responsibility. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this full time or anything. You do this as a hobby. You do this as a living. This is part of my full-time gig. But whatever you do when you get in front of that camera, be thinking about the impact that you will have on someone that you will likely never meet, and those that are in front of you, and build a community. Barry Loxton's here today. Hi, Barry. Barry's been somebody who lives here in my community in Sarnia, but we've been able to build a relationship to the point where he'll let me use his photographs in my shows because he's an awesome photographer, and I'm very grateful for that. But he wouldn't just let a stranger use his photographs. We've built a relationship. I had him and his wife on my show and had an impact on them, and so on and so forth. So out of all of that, the two words that I would tell you, impact and relationships, that's where building a community or building an audience begins.
Right. So it starts with you, and it starts with how you present yourself, as Tina said. Then it goes on to building relationships. And then we go on to, well, why should more and more people watch you? And that brings us to content. The building blocks are you building a network and the content that you're actually broadcasting. If you have no knowledge of something, then don't go near it. You have to broadcast from a depth of knowledge which can be matched by and even bettered by your audience, but you should at least know, well, you should at least know what you're talking about. It's very important because you're going to get questions. If you can't answer a question, then you can say, I can find out later. But you should have an in-depth knowledge of the topic that you're actually talking about. Now, if you want to be controversial, that's up to you. And if you want a reputation as being a shock jock, that's up to you. But the mainstay of live broadcasting is people who are telling stories, interesting stories. And that brings me to one thing. We all have an interesting story to tell. And live video is the best way of actually telling it. And you can do it, as we said yesterday, Marco and I, that anyone can go live. It just needs, well, you've got to take the first step and go live. But how important is content, Tina, when you do go live?
Well, when someone tunes in, you have a responsibility now. Are you educating them? Are you entertaining them? Are you trying to form a relationship and collaborating with them? So it's multifaceted, the importance of your content. I raise butterflies. I know I've saved thousands of caterpillars' lives showing people what the monarch caterpillar looks like, what a swallowtail caterpillar looks like, so they know they're beneficial and they're butterflies in training. So just something from my little hobby, I've saved insect lives and increased pollination and increased the pollinators in the world. So you never know where something you're sharing is going to lead. And to tag on to something David said is I did a little video on TikTok, and it's just such a simple video. And when we're done, I'll post it in link, but it's like every thought, every word, and every action creates a ripple. What ripple will you create today?
That's very well put. I think Lottie's actually going to document that one, and we can show it on screen later. David, content when you go live, because you've got the weekly show, which is 3:30 on Mondays, and the content comes from other people.
Well, I was going to when you were saying that earlier, you said you have to have an in-depth understanding of things. It's good to have the knowledge. I mean, for me, and I got into the sports world a few years ago, as you know, Stephen, and doing some work for our local Sarnia Sting. And I didn't know a lot about sports. And all of my friends who know me personally and well would say, oh, congratulations on that. How did you do that? Because you don't even know how to spell sports, let alone talk about sports. And I said, well, I learned a long time ago, if you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, put on a tie, you'll look great. Okay. So, and you know, all that means is you don't necessarily have to be the expert. You can be the messenger and not the message. And that's a lot of what I do with my weekly show. I have 3 guests on every week. They each get 15 minutes. Of course, I have some background knowledge of what we're talking about with them, but sometimes I find less is more, in the sense of I just know a little bit and enough to be able to ask questions, because when I ask the questions, they come out more genuine, because I'm like, I really don't know the answer to that question. A lot of times interviewers already know the answer. They're just asking the question to provide the entertainment to the audience. So, but content is certainly key. Everything I do on my show is positive. I get people reach out sometimes and say, oh, will you come and cover this story and come and cover that story? And I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm not saying that's not important. I'm just saying that's not my content. So make sure that you're staying focused on what's you. You don't have to jump outside the box of, oh, well, I'll do that because that'll get me more views. Don't sell yourself out in the sense of not staying true to who you are and what your show and your broadcast is about. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get more views. I get that. That's part of the game here. But stay true to you and what your show's about, or what your community's about. You know, even if you're not doing live, if you're just blogging or you're just doing a YouTube channel, and I say just, those things are really important. I just mean, however you're doing it, you have to stay true to yourself and your message that you want to put out. I don't want to put out negative news and what that. I'll let the local radio station do that, right? That's not what I'm here for. You know, I'm sure Tina probably doesn't talk about elephants a lot because she's about butterflies, right? So might be interesting, maybe a butterfly landing on an elephant, but you never know, right? So just stay true to what you do. Keep your message realistic, and avoid sometimes those temptations to step away from what you're all about just to get some extra views or attention. People don't, if you're not if you change that one little thing just to get those more views that one time, people will watch that one time. But then when they come back and you're doing the original, they're like, well, why am I here? And then they're gone anyway. So there's no point.
If you become known for something, a particular topic or particular genre, then people expect that of you. I mean, people coming to watch our show on the Mondays expect us to be discussing tech, Canada, the UK, COVID, a wide range of topics, but they know it's going to be you and I talking.
Yeah. Well, people don't turn on the comedy channel to watch a horror story.
Well, hopefully not, no.
Well, horror comedy movie. Anyway, you get the point.
Right. Okay. Now, when you schedule a broadcast, you've got the opportunity to actually promote it beforehand. What steps would you advise people to take, Tina, before a show? What can you do?
Well, my experience with Lottie and Jen and Ladies Go Live, I learned a lot. That was started in August of 2017. And we all learned from each other. We all came with specific skill sets, and I think exponentially grew them. And one thing I learned from working in that is the power of sharing, of scattering those seeds everywhere. I like to do even like a little mini commercial, do a little live commercial. It's 15 to 30 seconds saying, hey, I'm going live in 30 seconds. I'm going live in 30 minutes regarding this topic. We're going to discuss the 3 things you should do in your professional image, 3 things to ask a photographer, 3 things to look for when you're walking, anything like that to entice people and plant those seeds. And hey, if you can't make it, we'd love to see you on the replay. So put that out on Twitter, put it on your personal page, put it on your business page, and always pick quality over quantity. I'm new on TikTok and I'm growing very small. I'm not dancing, which would get me a lot more views. I said, if you see me dancing there, call the Alien Invasion Squad, because it's not me. There are things you can do, but you know what? You're not going to keep those viewers when you go for the numbers and not the quality. So grow small, grow consistently, and build your communities. Build people that be like, oh, I want to know what she's doing next. I want to know what he's going to talk about next. And one thing David said is curating content can be very powerful, and learning along with your audience, asking the questions that they would want to ask would be so important. And that can be through sharing your videos. So share them on page, ask your friends and family, hey, this was a really good show. Would you mind sharing it out? And keep in mind that 30% of your audience maybe will be live and the bulk is going to be in your replay.
Brilliant point. Playing for the replay.
Even if I could just add to something that Tina said in there, we talk about the community and everything. Include your community, and when you build those relationships with them, like for example, like Barry, who I mentioned earlier, I'm using his photographs. He's allowing me to use his photographs, and I didn't just do it for this reason, but I thought, oh, here's a way I could include Barry in my weekly show. He's a friend of mine. I see him out on the street here in Sarnia, and I stop and we wave and we talk. So including your viewers in as much as you can. I mean, when you get to a point of a whole bunch of views and a whole bunch of followers, it becomes much harder to do that. But really still put the effort into doing that and building that community along with it. But inclusion in everything that you do. And that's just as simple as giving a shout out, like saying, oh, hello, Lottie, or hello, Barry, and sharing the comments on the screen. And you can engage the audience, and that just in turn, again, continues to build the community.
Which gives me a chance. Sorry, T.
I was going to say one thing David is doing by sharing Barry's photographs is David is benefiting because he's not going to have to use a stock photo that a whole bunch of other people have used. So he's getting very curated, unique content, locally based, that helps position him and his friend. So it's a win-win situation. In Ladies Go Live, we always say collaborate over compete. There is enough out there for all of us. So look for those partnerships that you can form.
Yes, for sure. And I'm going to check you out on TikTok.
All right. Okay. I'm going to take just a moment just to show, when we broadcast on Facebook, when we broadcast on YouTube, we're broadcasting on somebody else's pitch, somebody else's turf, somebody else's stadium. It is important, if you're going to broadcast and promote seriously, to have your own turf, your home ground, and that is a website. So in true Blue Peter tradition, which will be lost on the both of you because it was a UK TV program where they told you how to bake an apple pie but had one ready made on the side. In true Blue Peter tradition, I've already made a website, and I'm just going to bring that website up on screen by taking that photograph off. And I want to talk you through it because it is, I think, relevant. I'm just going to share screen and go over to a Chrome tab. And here it is. And lo and behold, we can now see on screen, if I go full screen, this is Monday's broadcast, which was with Brigetti and Lottie and Marco. And I created a blog post before we went live. And the reason for creating it before we went live is this is a marketing tool. This is a way of actually promoting your broadcast. So if we just go through sort of the breakdown here, is obviously the title is important, then the show card, and Brigetti provided the show cards for 2 days. I did them from Monday to Wednesday. And then this is important. This single page now becomes a repository for the broadcast. So the live broadcast is recorded, and you can then have it on the page, and you can play it back. And more importantly, not only can you play it back, but anybody visiting the page can play it back, and they will see the videos which are part of that suite. And then they can find out more about the hosts who are actually on the show. So myself and Marco, Joe and Brigetti, Tina and Lottie, David and Fonz, and Linda. And underneath that, and this is the important bit, this particular page was used to promote the broadcast and give people enough information that they can actually follow up and understand what's going on. But in addition to that, if we come down to the bottom of the page, this particular page has been viewed 412 times. Now, I put the count on there on purpose, but it's been viewed 412 times. But this is 4 days after the show, and 40 people have visited that page today. So by having your own website and actually putting together pre-show, during the show, and after the show, you've got something which is permanent, which is yours, which nobody can take away, and you can use to promote not only that show, but future shows as well. Okay. And I'm going to take that off screen. So I think websites do play a major part in broadcasting and in promoting broadcasting and basically telling your story on an ongoing basis, because for 40 people to actually view Monday's shows today is good. Now, the other thing here is that all the videos from this week are on YouTube, and the links in the pages to video are to the videos on YouTube. So if you do it that way, then you're actually getting extra views on YouTube as well. So that's my tip for today, is have a website. David has a group. Tina has a page. We all have something which draws people in, don't we?
Absolutely. I have a website. I have a group. I have a page. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I have a TikTok, sort of. You know, and LinkedIn, all that stuff. I think that's one of the things too. Like, and again, we're talking about building an audience here, but it all depends on what level you're coming in at as well. You know, like, you can do this part-time. You can do this as a hobby. Don't let all of this information that you're getting today, or all week for that matter, with 5 days live, make you go, if I want to go live, I have to do all these things. No. All you have to do to go live is one thing. Start. That's it. Just start and press the button. Now, at what level you want to go to then yes, this is effort. There's stuff that goes into all of this to building something. If it's something you want to build to the point of having some monetization attached to it, where it becomes your full-time thing and you make a living from it. Now, that's hard work to do. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot going on here. If you want to do this full-time, be prepared to work. But I think it's important for people to understand, and Tina just kind of did it. She just pushed the button, right? Just go live and get started. I've often said, I started writing my book. I have a title. I've had a title for a few years. That's about as far as I've gotten with my book. It's called You Gotta Have an Episode 1. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I've left my episode 1 there for a reason. Just go to my YouTube channel, Dave Burrows, and type in episode 1. And you will watch and you'll be like, oh my goodness, what does this moron think he's doing? That's for people who don't know me. For those who did know me when I started, they'd be like, oh my goodness, what's this moron doing? Same thing. The background was horrible. The audio sucked. My green screen was bleeding through. I had lamps in the bedroom at home. Didn't tell Jennifer I was starting this show. And I had a green screen on the wall from green Bristol board from the dollar store. Jennifer came home, walked into the bedroom and saw a camera and said, what are you doing? And I said, it's okay, honey, I'm starting a show. Right. And that's how you got to have your episode 1.
That is a great story. And we really do have to have that video on the show next Monday. Not all of it, just part of it. You won't
want to see more than 60 seconds of this. I'm telling you, it's horrible. But here today at episode 452,
yeah,
that's there's a lot that's gone into that.
Different story, because that's it. We all grow into this, don't we? I mean,
Absolutely.
If we look back at the bad days, it was totally different. We thought it was the best thing ever, and it was. But today, now, this is we could only dream of this quality of video and the ability to simulcast to Facebook and YouTube was but a dream, Tina.
So, with what's going on in the world, we were all ahead of the curve. I was like in Periscope from 4 months in on Periscope. So I started there, and I don't have a problem being on either side of the camera. But now with everything going, we just got 2 more weeks of quarantine here in South Florida because, people went back too early and didn't pay attention. If you don't go live today, you have really missed the boat. You've got to get on board because the train is leaving. You can still run and catch up to it. But these skills with the amount of experts here available, like this show today, we're telling you all the mistakes we made and how to overcome them and put yourself ahead of the curve. You can say, well, I don't have a business. Guess what? Do you have a special needs child? Do you have a unique hobby? You have something to share with the world, and the world is waiting to hear it. One person out there, as David said, you can make an impact with and change their life, as his story, Donald Sutherland changed his. Create that ripple today and start, as David said, with episode 1.
But just do it. I mean, you can't people think about it too much, don't they? You've just got to go live, and you can go live on your camera to start with, on your mobile phone, and you don't need anything special. But to actually get an audience, as David said earlier, consistency is key. And we go live. Just get the adverts in, David. We go live at 12 p.m. Eastern every Monday, have been doing so for 3 years. And we've got some good friends who join us, Barry and Kelly and Corinda. And we've
already. Wow.
Sorry? Yeah.
You just did 3 years, and I was like, wow, where'd that go?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that when we started because something clicked and we decided we enjoyed each other's company. We started going live, and that was the start of it. But over the time, you built a network of friends in the UK, and I built a network of friends in Canada. And they're my friends are your friends are my friends, and we all got to know each other, and everybody takes part in the shows that we're broadcasting, and it is building friendships.
Totally.
Totally.
Building bridges across oceans.
Right.
Totally.
No borders anymore. Yeah. And I've said before, I think I said it the other day too, and I heard Joe Shepard, who was on, talk about it and say it. I truly believe live streaming can change the world, right? And I said that years ago, and back to Tina's point, especially right now, we can really change the world. We can certainly have an impact on the world because of live streaming right now. And everybody's got a story, and some sure might be movie material, and others might just be, the paperback book material, but they all have that impact. Somebody somewhere needs to hear you. I promise you, if you just start going live, if you build it, they will come, so to speak.
Sorry, Tina.
I was going to say, I stopped watching the news on TV 10 years ago because it's just negative. And you go to bed and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to just never get out of my bed or bury my head in the sand. I am more likely to believe, like with what we had going on here in the U.S. with George Floyd's death, I am more likely to believe somebody I see live on Facebook on the scene than the very narrow spectrum the news is showing me. On TikTok, they were showing you the police marching with the protesters. They were showing you people reaching out to each other, helping one another. Not just the negative enough to keep you like ramped up on negativity and division. That none of us are going to survive like that. We need to come together, and by making these type of interactions, relationships, and collaborations, we will do that, and love will always win. And that's what we can do when we share ourselves right here on the screen.
Well, Tina, CNN stands for constantly negative news, right?
Don't watch it.
See, we don't watch CNN in the UK. We don't watch BBC in the UK or our own channels. But one of the things that always amazes me is if you come in to do live video and you join the live video group, we do not compete with each other. Never have done since the bad days. We do not compete. Everybody helps and supports each other. So if you reach out and you help and support someone with their show, then they will support you. And it's a mutually supportive group, isn't it? If we've got a question, we can get an answer. If we need a favor, we can get the favor. But that's because we've built up communities, or a part of communities, which are supportive.
And you also learn people's level of expertise. Like, wow, I want to reach out to her and ask, with everything happening with the quarantine, I wasn't really able to go out and do pictures. I did an author last week and one the before for their book cover, but I started doing a lot of image and reputation management where people all over the world for a very small fee were sending me their 5 pictures and having me say, this is what I love about it. This one, here's what I wouldn't be using that. Here's why, the body language is wrong. You look bigger, whatever. But having that objective person that's looking out for your best interest is so important. And you can meet them through doing this. Who are you watching? What is their message? What are you taking away from it? And then let them know how they created that ripple within you.
Totally agree.
And you never know who you're going to meet, right? I've been making some notes here. I've never met anybody who knew much about butterflies. That wasn't like maybe the forefront of my brain when I woke up this morning and go, I want to learn about butterflies. But now, because of all of this, and I've already sent Tina a friend request and all this stuff, and we've begun building our relationship, the next time I go to Niagara Falls, 3 hours from where I live, and go to the butterfly conservatory, I will likely think of Tina. I might even text her and go, hey, can you tell me where this is?
Or you can invite me and I'll go with you.
Right. We'll go live. Do it that way. There you go. I love it. I
Uh,
just love it. I really do.
All right. I've posted a link to the website, and you'll find all this week's shows on there, and you'll find Tina and David, Brigetti, Marco, Linda, Joe, and of course Lottie and Fonz. There's a team of 9 of us involved in the broadcast this week. We're all famous friends. We help and support each other year round, and it's just a magical week, and we look forward to this. We don't do it. We do it 4 or 5 times a year to share our expertise, because this is our way of giving back to the community. It's actually to go live and share our expertise and knowledge quite freely. And if you've got any questions for any of us after a broadcast, any time after the broadcast, then please do ask. And if you want help and support and you're going on Be Live TV, then you can go into Be Live's group and get support there. All right. Okay. Now, Harper. All right. Sorry, I've got to come to the comments now. The comments drive the broadcast, as I said earlier. Lottie is saying, right, Todd and Lottie are having a conversation, which we've dropped in on. Not a lot, except doing virtual open houses. That is what I'm seeing. I'm going to say hello to Harper. And Harper joins Marco and I on Wednesdays on a different broadcasting system. And I'm going to translate this. I'm going to get it right. I live in Arizona, but I have friends in Seattle who are realtors who actually introduced me to Be Live. You must just have to search on Facebook. Brilliant. Okay. Nice to see you, Harper. As Harper joins us on Restream on a Wednesday. And over to Lottie. Send her a live. Right. Okay. Cross country. Just connect. Send her, Tina an invite. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to put you both on the spot. You know I would. Okay. 3 quick tips to actually increase your audience. Would you like to go first, Tina? Because David and I are gentlemen. If you'd like to go first.
Sure. So 3 quick tips regarding what I spoke about today. The power of the portrait. Make sure your profile picture is updated at least quarterly. Make sure when you choose your color, avoid black, white, and gray. Choose a solid over a print. It's too much going on. Pay attention to your angle, background, and lighting. A professionally taken image will always get clicked upon 14 times more than a selfie. And please, for the love of everything holy, avoid taking pictures in your car.
I'm going to run out right after this, and I'm going to go in my car and take a picture.
I will hunt you down.
She's going to send the butterflies over here, the killer butterflies.
No, I send butterflies to tinkle in your beverage if you're naughty.
I see. Tina's videos are marvelous. I just sit there watching as the butterflies are actually released, and you've no idea where they're going to go, and you follow them into that tree and that tree and that tree, and then that's their life started and they're off. It's sort of magical, really. David.
I'm raising right now giant swallowtails, which I've never raised before. I do 8 kinds, so this is my 9th. And the caterpillars look like bird poop, and they're so creepy. But I just keep focusing on what beautiful butterflies they're going to be. Black and yellow, very large.
David, it's over to you. Oh, right. This is a magical moment that I knew was going to happen. Just let me hide that for a moment. I've got a very good reason for doing that. Just let me scroll. Oh, he's gone. Darn. I've got a show in 5 minutes with John Upton. And of course, this is the studio. John has just turned up in the studio. So I was actually going to bring him on screen. And right. Okay, I can. Just a minute. Okay, this is the first time when 2 shows have actually collided.
Hi, David. Hello. I'm sure you don't know the lady.
Tina, meet John, who's in the Midlands in the UK in Solihull. He and I have done a show together called Blabbing for Britain for nearly 5 years. And 38 weeks ago, we started a new show which was called Inspired by Video, which is the video creation software. And John does John's instructional video every week, teaching people how to use the software. And we do a live show for 30 minutes. And that live show starts at 11 a.m. Eastern.
So I've got 3 minutes to give my 3 tips then.
Well, yeah. And then John's going to give his 3 tips about building an audience.
I'm not. I'm going to disappear for a bit. Good fun. See you in a bit, guys.
Nice to
Okay,
see you.
John. That was a magical moment.
Actually, that John being on here kind of can lead into my 3 tips, and it goes back to what I said about building relationships. So it's impact and relationships. And then to take the words of, I think it was Jim Rohn, surround yourself with the right people. When you're building your community, think about what community you want to build, and then surround yourself with the right people. You are a part of the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. That's just science, right? And it does have the impact that you put out is important, but the impact that comes back to you is equally as important, right? So, like if you go to my Facebook, you see positive, positive, positive. You don't often see any negative comments. And if I do, they're just gone. And now that universe has been created. It's just all positive. So be you, build relationships, have an impact on those relationships. And don't forget to press the go live button first, I guess. So there's 4 tips. But John being in here is a really good example of, I didn't know him. I met Stephen. Then through Stephen, I've met John. John has been up at 2 in the morning when I'm doing my music show on Friday nights, and just support, and the whole interlace of what's happening here today with 5 days live. And it all just kind of works together after a while. You just, if you build it, they will come, like I say, And Stephen, I want to say thanks to you for all your efforts this week and putting together this 5 days live and coordinating and putting up with all of us of what we want to talk about.
It's today's show is an exemplar of what's possible when people who know each other get together and talk purposefully about topics which they do have expertise. And it's been a pleasure today. Tina, thank you.
Thank you.
David, thank you. And John, I'll be with you shortly. And a big thank you to everybody who's commented today, especially Lottie. I mean, Lottie's major part of the team, major part of our lives, and is so supportive of everything that we do. And Lottie, thank you. And Harper, thanks for joining us today. And to Todd and everybody who's actually commented, if you catch the replay, thank you. My top tips are, well, no, I've only got 1 tip. Just do it and listen to people and start networking. From 5 Days Live, day 4, thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody.